What's going on, y'all? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, representing the squad. Today we're gonna go over an update of my Burning Abyss deck. Now, before we begin into the main deck, just want to let you know that I'm playing a very unconventional basically build of Burning Abyss, where I like to play cards that I love. So there might be a few card choices that you see in this deck that you may not agree with, but nonetheless, it's just the way I like to play my deck. I love the way it is. I love rituals. I love a lot of cards in BAs that most people don't even give recognition or play because they feel like they have no spotlight in the competitive scene. But with that said, I'm going to hop right into the deck. Let's just understand, if you see something that you don't agree with, I respect your opinion. I'm not going to shoot it down. You know, if you don't like the card, I totally understand, but I like these cards and I'm going to play them whether somebody tells me I can or not. Starting with the main deck, 2 copies of Malakota. Malakota is just one of the best monsters that the BA archetype has to offer. He gives you the ability to play on your opponent's turn without Beatrice. Beatrice is at 1, and it's one of the very few ways that we can play on our opponent's turn, Beatrice and like Pilgrim. But his effect lets you discard a BA, and a monster on the field will lose that monster's attack and defense. So he's like a little shrink, right? But the best thing is he's discarding a BA as a spell speed too. So you can do it on your opponent's turn and even in damage step, which is really cool. But the main thing is you discard cards like Farfa, cards like Calcab, cards like Alec, Sir, Graf, Skarm, whatever you want, and you'll get that monster's effect right away because he discards it to the grave. His other effect is if this ritual summon monster is sent from the field to the grave, you can send 1 card on the field to the graveyard. So he's kind of like a, you take me down, I'm taking you down with me. He's a really, really strong, solid boss monster. I love Malakota a lot. And the cool thing is, it's just when he's sent from the field to the graveyard, it doesn't even say by your opponent. So if you want to get rid of cards, you can send him from the field to the graveyard with Fire Lake, sack 4. You can link summon with him, sack some more. He's a really powerful way to out cards that simply can't be destroyed, like a BLs, for example. Then we play 3 copies of Fiendish Rhino Warrior and also 3 copies of Skarm. These fall in the category of utility. They provide outlets to get other cards that you play at 1 or 2, or cards like Sir that are only at 1, and they allow you to have 6 additional ways or copies to get to a card that you really need. So they're great utility cards. This is any BA effect. He also protects your BAs from being destroyed by battle card effects, so you can control, for example, a Decode Talker. Special your BAs, they will not die due to their own restriction because he says they can't be killed. And Skarm is just a searcher for any level 3 Dark Fiend, so she's quite dynamic and diverse in other Dark Fiend decks that play level 3s. Continuing in the category of utility, we played 2 copies of Libic, 1 Sir, and 1 Graf. This will sum up the category of utility for the monster lineup. Now, these provide great options, summoning from the deck, the graveyard, or the hand. The only thing you can't summon from in the main deck is the Banish Zone, but you have a card like Levier the Sea Dragon in your extra deck that allows you to summon from the Banish Zone. So long story short, BAs can get their monsters from anywhere they want to, which is really cool. This is one of the most annoying and aggressive decks to go into the time with. Grinding against this deck is very difficult. As long as Dante's at 3, this deck is going to be basically a force to be reckoned with. Now, Libic helps a problem that the deck has, you know, the same thing with like Fiendish Rhino Warrior. If you have a monster that's not a BA, for example, Beatrice, you can special it with Libic's effect or with Fiendish Rhino Warrior on the field, and Beatrice, not being a BA, won't basically kill the BA monster that you summon. Graf and Sir are at 1 for a very good reason. And then we have the next category, which is monsters that provide interference, or we can say disruption. So we play 3 copies of Farfa, 2 copies of Alec, 2 copies of Barbar, and also 1 copy of Calcab. So these are monsters that you want to discard from your hand with Malakota, or send from your deck with Beatrice, or even discard with Dante the Pilgrim, because they provide ways to interfere on your opponent's turn. Now, this bounces back rows, which is relevant in certain matchups. But what's always going to be good no matter what deck you're playing is going to be Barbar, Alec, and Farfa. This banishes monsters, this negates monsters' effects like Effect Veiler, and this will burn your opponent for 900. So these are ways you can interfere in the middle of your opponent's turn. Barbar is like a really annoying free cheap win. If you're playing Nightmare Shark, you can literally do 2900 damage. If he lives, you can do 2,900 more. Barbar's recurable. I just like playing him at 2 because he happens to be a 1,700 beat stick, which is really important because most main deck BAs don't have very high attack. So Barbar's great. Now, Alec is for negating like Electrum. It's for negating, you know, Sleeper if you can already get the Last Resort off. Stuff like that. Just negating in general very annoying monsters that can kill you. Farfa can help you and hurt your opponent. It hurts your opponent because it can banish monsters that they really need for that turn. And it also helps you because you can banish your own Beatrice or Dante if it's clogging your extra monster zone. And put another monster in the extra monster zone, and during the end phase, the monster that he banished will return, believe it or not, to the main monster zone, which actually pretty much ignores Master Rule 4, because Burning Abyss do not have Cherubini, their Link monster, yet, so we kind of have to find ways to make plays without Link summoning all the time, because if you don't have Phoenix Rhino Warrior or Libic, every Link summon monster that you make will kill any BA that comes out, so you got to keep in mind, that's really important. So Farfa's great. You play a lot of BA names. I can't really, let me see. Just a lot. I don't feel like counting them, but you just play a lot of BAs in general because I like opening up with BAs in hand. I like being able to make Beatrice first turn. We also play Rubik, not only because he's a name, but he's 2100, and he allows you to make your Virgil without wasting Beatrice. Most of the time, Beatrice will summon something that's not Virgil, and you just want to be able to make Virgil on your own sometimes. That is it for the BA monsters. Then for the PK Fire engine, because I do play PK Fire still. I like Burning Abyss and Phantom Knights. They're meant to be played together. We play the full outfit. We play boots, cloak, and also gloves. I'm considering bumping gloves up to 2. It's a great card. The utility that's this card provides for the rank up engine happens to be very, very aggressive, enabling you to make bigger pushes than your Burning Abyss deck would be able to make. If you were not playing Phantom Knights, you'd be missing out on a lot of plays. It's really, really awesome. You want to mill cards like these off of your Dantes plus your Burning Abyss. I love you. Tour Guide of the Underworld, because the card was put to 1 due to this deck playing it at 3 and basically making Tour Guide go to 1. But it's still searchable, so it's totally fine. For the spells, we play 3 Pot of Desires. It's the Great +1. This is a 50 card deck, so it doesn't really matter that I'm playing 3. I actually want to see it because I need to thin my deck out. Now, the problem that I had with the 40 card build was I was actually decking out a lot because I search a lot. I play a lot of consistent spells. My monsters cycle through. There's just so many issues that I had with the 40 card build. I'm good right now. That I really wanted to bump the deck up to 50 because I wanted to play 5 more BA names. I wasn't really satisfied with the BA ratio. I was opening up with like 1 BA and I really hated it. I like drawing monsters, so I bumped it to 50 cards. And like I said, if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but this is the way I'm playing my deck and I'm not going to change it for anybody. 3 copies of pre-preparation of rights and also 3 copies of regular prep. These fix problems where you either have Malakota engraved and you need to get them back, or you have too many of the ritual spells engraved and you need to get them back. These fix those problems. If you have 3 good and evil in the grave, you can activate this, search a Malakota, add a ritual spell from grave. If you have 2 Malakotas in grave, you can activate this, add a ritual spell from deck, and add Malakota from grave. So these provide recursion in mid to late game grind synergy. Really powerful spells. Then you have 3 copies of Allure Darkness because all your monsters are dark, and you really don't care about banishing a lot of them because you can special summon them back from with Levier if that's a problem. 3 good and evil. This is actually my favorite spell in the deck. It summons Malakota and it has an effect from grave where you can banish it, discard a BA, and then add any BA card from your deck to your hand. You can search your Fire Lake, your Sirs, pretty much any BA card, even a copy of itself if I'm not mistaken. Yep, you can even add a copy of itself. It doesn't even have a restriction. It's a really, really great card. It helps me to grind. It gives me those searches, the follow-up play you need for next turn. It basically sets you up with loaded resources in grave. 1 copy of the Phantom Knights Reiko Magic Launch because I really, really like the Dark Requiem XYZ Dragon. And I need to put an Ophion in my extra deck because Ophion locks down Pendulum Magicians to an extent, no Graph Sorcerers, no ABC Buster Dragon, no Sleeper, there's like a lot of high-level monsters that are really, really powerful. Like, there's a lot of no's. Just no. Ophion's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That sums it up for the spells. Oh yeah, there is an interaction with Discard and Breaksword too that's really powerful. I'm sure you already know about it because PK Fire is an old deck. It's not new. For traps, we play 3 Fire Lake. Best trap in this deck. The fact that you can pretty much activate it for free at times. Sacking off like Dante and other cards. Popping 3, using Dante to either add this back or add a Sir back. Destroying 3 cards on your opponent's turn is amazing, in addition to having Fog Blades, which is really, really good. This is a spicy tech that I know for a fact that no Burning Abyss player is running. It's called Phantom Knights of Wrong Magneting. Now, if your opponent declares an attack, you can negate the attack and then special summon this as a monster. It has a quick effect that says you can send this card and 1 Phantom Knights card, being a monster or continuous trap from the field to the grave. So you send this and just this or another Phantom Knight, and you draw 2 cards. And it's a quick effect. So this actually saves your life in the mid to late game. If you just need a turn to push for next turn, this will negate the attack that's in the way. And then it'll sack this off if this was on a monster, and you'll draw 2 fresh cards, which sets you up for next turn. And it's searchable. So I like the card, and I know that nobody's really playing it, but I think it's really, really cool. It's just more spice. You guys know how I like my deck profiles. I play like as much spice as I can possibly fit. The deck is just great. Fire Lake is amazing also with interactions with Malakota, because you can sack Malakota and Dante, and you can basically destroy 3 cards on the field and then use his effect to send another card on the field to the graveyard, and use Dante and add this back if you want to, just to be annoying. So it's really, really powerful in that regard. The extra deck is triple Dante. I would never not play 3. I'm sure that other players can say play 2 and you can get away with it, because that's accurate. You can, but Dante is Dante, and I'm playing him at 3 no matter what. He's good. As long as he's at 3, I'm going to play him at 3. 2 copies of Breaksword. 2 copies of Leviair. These are the only rank 3s that I know I'm going to make every duel. Other rank 3s, the situation has to call for it. Then we play Beatrice. We play Big Daddy Dante. We also play Virgil. These provide spot-on removal that helps. He can actually shuffle cards, and he would, actually, I believe it's discard? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's the other way around. He shuffle cards from the field to the deck, and if he's sent to the graveyard, you draw a card. And then he can discard any BA to draw, so he can actually trigger Farfa, banishing your stuff. He's like a really, really oppressive monster depending on which BA you discard. Like Alec to negate Electrum, right? Stuff like that, and you draw a card. And then also, if he's sent for the field to grave, he discards a card from your opponent's hand. So these are very powerful. Every monster you make in the BA matchup, just keep in mind that whatever resources you waste making them, they will pay for themselves in the long run, because they'll always do something else when they leave. Then you have Dark Requiem, Dark Rebellion, and Evil Swarm Nightmare for the Phantom Knights rank up plays. Also, Breaksword can literally just make these himself. So like you can Breaksword pop, make this, shrink a monster, make himself bigger, then rank him up into this. And Dark Requiem says, during either player's turn, you can basically detach 1 material from this card. I'm sorry, his once per turn is detach 1 material from this card, target a face of monster your opponent controls, change its attack to 0, and then he will gain that monster's attack. That's his once per turn effect. He has another effect during either player's turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect, detach 1 material from this card, negate the activation, destroy that card, then special summon 1 XYZ monster from your graveyard. You can special your Dantes, your Requiem, you can special summon your Beatrice back from your graveyard. This card's really, really good, and he's not once per turn. So if you can make him, say for example, like if you make him with enough materials, he can negate like a lot of monster effects. He's like a baby hero to perfection, because his effect to negate is not once per turn. So if you can use the quick up this spell to give him more materials, for example, like you can like put more negates on board basically, and he's 3,000 on legs. He's a great card. Then for links, we just play Decode and Akashic to sum up the extra deck. I cannot wait until we get Cherub Beauty of the Burning Abyss. That card is going to be awesome. I'm definitely going to enjoy my Burning Abyss more than I already do. That concludes my deck profile. I went very in-depth. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section down below your honest opinions and thoughts of how this deck operates. I understand that there's a build with Twin Twisters, Cyclones, mistakes, and also anti-spells. I'm not knocking that. That's real competitive. But I play my Burning Abyss to have fun, and this is a really, really fun and also competitive build. You should definitely just try it for yourself if you don't believe me. Peace out, y'all. I'll be signing out, and you'll be hearing from me soon.